12,000 lumens. Hard to believe. It happened to me, and oh boy, I was so wrong. This flashlight, it's manufactured in China, of course. Everything today is manufactured in China, but this obscure, unknown flashlight came out of nowhere, and it rivals the big boys. All the manufacturing details on this unit are amazing. The more you look, the more you realize that they didn't cut any corners while manufacturing this flashlight. It doesn't have the fancy features you see on other higher end flashlights, but that's what's really cool about this flashlight, is the simplicity of it. User interface, long press, from off, you lock out the flashlight, and another long press will put the flashlights on standby mode. After that, you click away until you hit your desired output, and to shut it off, another long press and you're off. Now let's check the threads and the battery carrier. The threads are anodized, so that means you can do a mechanical lockout. You only see this on higher end flashlights, so that kind of surprised me right there. And to show you what a mechanical lockout is, technically you disable the flashlight by unscrewing the cap just a little bit. Now the flashlight is on, and that will drain the battery over time if you leave it on standby for a long period. So what you do is you unscrew the cap just a little bit. Now the connection is off. This will save the battery inside so you can store it for a longer period. This is what we call a mechanical lockout versus the electronic one. Now let's check the battery carrier. It only took me a second to realize that it was very similar to the higher end flashlights. This is a visual comparison with the Ace Beam battery carrier that you see on most of their flashlights. And to my surprise, the Ace Beam was lighter. I was expecting the other way around. And usually the higher density the material is, the better conductivity you get from that material. I have no way to prove this since I don't have the equipment for it, but that was a surprise for me. And the battery carrier weighs 138 grams versus the Ace Beam battery carrier, which weighs 59 grams. That's less than half. Now let's weigh the rest of the components. The head of the flashlight weighs 294 grams. So I'm suspecting that this have a good dissipation of the heat since you have heavy materials inside the head of the flashlight. When you put the three components together, you have 547 grams. Now let's check the weight with all the components, including battery and the battery carrier. 741 grams. And just for comparison, I brought my K60 from Ace Beam, which is a great flashlight. You can see that the anodizing on the Ace Beam, it's slightly shinier. And also the knurling, I'm not a big fan of the knurling. I think they could do better. But it's a great flashlight overall. And in comparison with the flashlight we're talking about today, it's less shinier, so it's more creepy. And the knurling, it's really cool. I really like the look of it. So if you look at the front end of the flashlight, you'll realize that it's an optic flashlight. It's not a regular reflector like you see in other flashlights. And if you're wondering how many emitters you have on this one, it's 18 XPG 3 emitters. And this will put an output of 12,000 lumens. And usually when you have an unknown manufacturer, usually they blow on these numbers. So I was kind of wondering if they were stating the truth, if this is really truly a 12,000 lumen flashlight. Olight got the X7R, which got the same output. So at this point, I'm really truly curious to see what will be the output or the performance on this flashlight. The beam pattern is basically a wall of light. There's no hot spot, and the output is just amazing. I used this flashlight during Irma. We were without power for over a week, and this thing proved to be a solid rock flashlight. And because of the optics, usually a floodlight doesn't really throw that well, and this is not the case on this flashlight. Since you have the optics, it handles throw fairly well. The more I pushed this flashlight, the more I was impressed with the performance. I could see this flashlight being used very easily for search and rescue, law enforcement, security. If you have a big property, this flashlight will be very useful for you. Very seldom you see a flashlight that handles flood and at the same time throw this well. And usually when you have a flashlight that got this output, temperature is my biggest concern. They get so hot so quickly that technically practicality goes out the window, and that thing will get so hot so quickly. For me, it's not a practical thing. So I'm gonna check this thing. I'm gonna put it on the highest setting and see how hot it gets. Just a quick check here. I was holding the flashlight, so you got about 82 degrees. Room temperature is about 75 degrees. So that's about right. And let's see how it performs. Now it's on turbo. And as soon as that temperature starts to change, I'm going to start recording the time. On the 1 minute mark, you have the handle about 85, 86 degrees, and the closer you get to the light emitters, the hotter it will get. After that, the light has started to lower the output to protect itself. Went back and put it on turbo to see how hot it could get, and it stayed about 126. This is very close to the light emitter area, and this is at 3 minutes of runtime. So that was pretty good compared to other flashlights on this output. Olight offered the X7R, which is the same output. The price is about $279, and it comes with batteries. That's something you have to think about. The flashlight I'm reviewing today doesn't have batteries. It doesn't have the USB charging features. But when you see the pricing, it's very, very competitive. I'm gonna leave all the details on the description below. I'm even gonna leave a code so you can take an additional discount. So if you use the code, the price should be about $86. But remember, you have to get batteries. I'm gonna leave another link so you can get them, and they run about $10 a piece. You're gonna need 4. So if you add it all up, you're gonna have a total of $126. So there it is, the Astrolux MF-01. Great flashlight for somebody in a budget. I highly recommend this flashlight. So if you like the video, let me know. And if you have any questions, just put them on the comment section. I'll be happy to go over them and answer them the best I can. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching the video, and consider to subscribe to my channel.